Hi everyone. Today in this session we are going to learn about national income accounting. So what is national income accounting and what is the need for an aspirant to know about this and what are the different types of income accounting are those topics will be covered over here. So let us start with the basic question. First question, that is, what is national income accounting? So national income account, national income. First of all, let's start with the national income and why the accounting of the national income is necessary. Okay, national income is the total monetary value of all the new goods and services produced in a particular time period or in a 1 year is known as national income. So, as I said, what is it? Monetary value of monetary value of all new goods and services produced in 1 year, or this can be of a varying time period. Some may calculate that for the quarterly, some may calculate that for the half yearly also, and generally we take it for 1 year. So this is your national income. National income is the total monetary value of all new goods and services produced in 1 year by a country or in a country is known as national income. Okay, now we got the definition of national income. Now let us see what is national income accounting refers to. What does that refers? Now why is the word accounting is there? So accounting refers to the national income accounting refers to those techniques and the systems which are used to calculate this national income or to calculate the output of a country. Now we got the definition for the national income and we also know what is meant by accounting. Now, after knowing this, now let's jump to the next question, that is, what are the different ways how we can calculate this national income? So basically or popularly, there are four different ways to calculate this national income accounting. Uh-oh, stop. But before going to the different methods, we have to know as an aspirant why we have to study this topic and why this topic is important for us. So the first question has which pops up to the aspirant mind is, why should we have to study this one? So the first question starting with why national income accounting has to be studied. So to answer this question, let us follow some simple steps. We as an aspirants work in our service. Whenever we join our services, whenever we get IAS, IPS or any other services into Indian civil services, we'll be working for the simple task, that is for the development of a country. So that is for development of country. So how will this development happen? Will it happen over the night or will it happen just like that? No, right? So the precondition for this development is the growth of a country. So there should be growth of the country. That is the precondition for the development. And instead of it's going the down, the arrow mark should be the upward. So if there is a growth in a country, there will be development in the country. So next thing is, how will this growth happens? So generally the growth happens, or generally the economists or all the methods which we use, we say it in the terms of monetary value. So if the monetary value is increasing, if the monetary value of number of goods and services are increasing year on year, then we say that there is a growth in a country. So when there is a growth in a country, only then the development can happen, which is our mission. Which is our mission, meaning as an aspirant, we aspire, or whenever we come into the services, our main motto is this development of the country. So for that development to happen, the precondition is there should be growth in a country. So for that growth to happen, there should be monetarily increasing in the value. So increase in monetary value of goods and services produced in a country. Okay. So in this way, so now what we are doing in this national accounting method, we are knowing how much whether the monetary value of goods and services produced in a country are increasing or decreasing. Okay, so that if this one is known, if this is known, we can measure or we can see that if there is a growth in a country or not. Okay, now if we know that there is a growth in a country, then that leads to the development of a country. And in this video, I'm assuming that as an aspirant, you know the difference between the growth and the development, or economic growth or the economic development. So if you have any doubts, we can talk about these differences later on in the another video. Okay. So now you got the very important question, that is why? Why and as an aspirant, it is important for us to study the national income accounting technique. Okay, fine, right? Okay. Now let us know the popular ways of how this next question. Let us jump into the another technique of how this national income accounting is done. So next question is how. Let us answer this question first. So popularly there are four different ways where or how we calculate the national income. So the first one is GDP, which is known as gross domestic product or produce. Second one is gross national produce. So here domestic, here N is national. Next one, third one is the NDP, that is national net domestic produce. Next one, fourth one is the net national produce. So these are the four different ways how we calculate the national income accounting, or to measure whether the country is moving forward monetarily or not. Okay. So first one is the GDP. What does this mean? Gross domestic produce. Now the second one is gross national produce. Third one is NDP, that is national domestic produce. The fourth one is net national produce. Sorry, the third one is net domestic produce. So here it is net domestic produce. Okay, now everyone are clear with these four different types. Now let us study these things in detail. What is GDP? What is DNP? What is NDP and NNP? So once we study all this in detail, then you will, as an aspirant, you will get a clarity why this is done. Okay. So let us jump into the topic. Let us jump into our topic, that is GDP. One of the important things where we study it very often. And also aspirants, many questions in the previously have been asked on this GDP and national income accounting topic. So have a clear picture. First we have started with our definition. Next we came to know why we have answered the why part of the question. Now we are seeing how part. So that is how the national income accounting is done. And after that, now we are in detail studying the each topic, each thing. What is GDP or what are those things? So GDP, okay, gross domestic produce. Now let us study this in detail. What is GDP? GDP. G stands for gross. Gross का मतलब, so yeah, gross domestic produce. So G is for gross. Gross is nothing but total. Gross is nothing but total. Now you know G. What is D? D is the domestic. D is for domestic, right? What is this domestic? Domestic is nothing but this includes the territorial boundary of a particular country. Okay, but me as an aspirant, we should clearly define what domestic is, right? So instead of telling just a territorial part, I am using the territorial or political boundary. Instead of telling the domestic or boundaries of a country, boundary of country, we also use the another word, that is the political boundaries. We also use political boundary. So now let us see what this political boundary in a while, so that you'll come to know that. Now produce is nothing but all the goods and services, all the new goods and services. So now combining all these things, by combining all these three things, what total total monetary value of all new goods and services produced in a particular country or produced within the political boundaries of a country, that is known as GDP of a country. So now hope you got the clear picture of the definition, that is total monetary value of total monetary value of all new goods and services produced produced within the political boundary of a political boundary of a particular country. So this gives you the real or complete definition of the. Hope you got this definition. Now let us come back to the point of this. What is this? What is the difference between the boundary and the political boundaries? Why should we have to learn? So previously, while you were studying from the different sources or different books, you might have studied about the boundary of a country, within the boundary of a country, right? Now, but me as an aspirant, why am I saying it a political boundary? Am I mad? No, right? I have to justify now that. So let me say that political boundary is not just the Indian boundaries. Political boundary means this political boundary also includes the embassies of India, embassy embassies of India, which are in other countries. For example, we have Indian embassy in America, we have Indian embassy in African countries, we have Indian embassy in Malaysia, we have embassies in China, we have embassy in Pakistan also. So all these embassies also comes within our boundary. So to get that clarity, to give you a student that clarity, I'm using a word called political. So these embassies are also included within that, and also the military establishments. For example, consider India. India took some part. There is some island, somewhere in Indian Ocean, which is not part of Indian continent. But we took that island for a lease of suppose 100 years or 99 years, and we established our things, like our political establishments or our military establishments. We have started over there. So that part also comes under our boundary. Okay. So now, if there are any services or goods produced in these political boundaries, that also comes under our India's GDP. Okay. See here, embassies of India. For example, India has embassy in the European Union. So in that embassy, there are few services which we will be providing to the others citizens. Now, but that embassy is in another country, might be in German, might be in France, or might be in either American, USA. That is not within our border. So can we say that services produced in that embassy doesn't belong to India? No, since that embassy comes under our political boundary, all those services which are produced in the embassies of India, even though they are located in other parts of a country, other countries, they are part of India. Okay, so now you got the clarity with the definition part, right? Hope everyone got that. Now let us see. Now after knowing the complete definition of the GDP, holistic definition of the GDP, now I have to stress upon one more thing. Now that is we have seen what things are included in the GDP, right? Now we also have to see that what kind of things are not included in the GDP. or while calculating the GDP of India, what are the things we should not include? Okay, just testing on that point. We'll move on that. So to give clarity, here I am telling only the new goods. Keep that in mind. All new goods and services produced. Okay, now let us see what other things are not included in. Hope everyone got the definition or complete meaning of GDP. Yes. Now we'll go to the things where the which are not included while calculating GDP. While calculating GDP. Okay. So first thing. Now the intermediary goods are not used in the while calculating GDP. So intermediate goods are not used while calculating the GDP of a country. So what is this? Let us take some examples and then understand it clearly. For example, there is a car company. There is a MRF company. You know, all of them knows MRF tire company, right? Yeah, a tire company. Okay. Now, now this MRF, now MRF produces tires. Okay. Now this MRF is selling a tires to Tata company. Tata has the car manufacturing unit. So these tires are used by the Tata for producing cars. Okay. This is one scenario. This is the first scenario. Now the second scenario is that we all are using bikes. We all use cars, right? So after a few years, there will be a depreciation or wear and tear of a tire, right? So then what we will do, we go to the tire shop and then we exchange or we change our tires. We will buy the new tire and then we use it for our bikes. So the second scenario here is we as our customers using tires directly. Okay. So here are the two scenarios. The same tire. MRF is producing the same kind of tires. First, they are selling it for the Tata company in the which are used in the production of cars. Second, the same tires are sold directly to the customers for their final use. So now understand this thing properly. When the tire is used as a product of the car or used for the manufacturing of the car, then tires are the intermediary products. So intermediary products are those products which are used for producing the final goods. Those kind of products are called as intermediary products. So in the first scenario, while studying the first scenario, you can easily understand that see, the same tire is sold, but it is used in the manufacturing of cars. Tires directly are not used by the consumer or the customer. So in the first case, it is an intermediary goods. Similarly, when we consider the second case, here the same tire is directly used by the consumer as a final product. So this is the final product. Final product. So while calculating the GDP of a country, here, this the tires which are sold directly for the customers are used in the GDP calculation. For example, 20 tires or 200 tires are sold in this way. So these 200 tires can be used for the GDP calculation, the monetary value of these 200 tires. But while taking the tires which are sold to Tata company, which are in turn used for the production of cars, are not taken into the account. Okay, because these are intermediary. Okay, now let me give you one more clarity that why these intermediary goods are not included in GDP calculation. Because now you consider this example. Now you are buying a car. Okay, by taking the same example itself. Now, if this tire may cost you something around 7 lakhs or 10 lakhs, maybe 10 lakhs. Okay, now answer me this question that Whether this 10 lakhs also includes the price of a tire which are used for the car manufacturing, right? So to avoid the double calculation, see if that now the tire value is already included in the 10 lakhs. Okay, that is fine. And then if we add again the value of the tire, here the tire's value will be calculated for the twice. So to avoid those double calculation, we don't use the intermediary goods in the GDP calculation. Okay. In this case, the tags have been used as final product. In this case, they are used as the intermediary product. So to avoid this double calculation, we don't use intermediary goods monetary value in our GDP calculation. Okay, all of them are good with this. So that is why the word new is stressed in our definition of the GDP. Okay, so all the new goods and services produced. Is there any doubt here? So the first thing is the intermediary goods. Now we'll go for the second thing. That is hmm. Now consider this scenario. The second one is new goods and services. Okay. Now we are considering the new goods and services. Right. Now let us see that thing. Why I am telling the new goods and services word should be used because consider the scenario of now I have produced a particular car. I have produced a car in the 2019 itself. Okay, this one is like a Hyundai. Hyundai company produced a car in 2019, but they are selling the car. They are selling the car to the customer in the 2020. Okay, they are selling the car in the 2020. Now, my question is whether this car, which is sold in 2020 and produced in 2019, can be used in the GDP calculation of 2020. Okay, we have to answer that question. Now, let us clearly understand the definition. Okay, so in the definition says all new goods and services produced in a particular year, in that particular year. So when is that car produced? 2019. They are selling it in 2020. So this car cannot be used in the GDP calculations of 2020. This car is used in the GDP calculations of 2019. Even though in 2020 it is the first new car the customer is buying, but it is not produced in that particular year. It is produced in 2019. So these type of goods which are produced in previous year cannot be used in the GDP calculation of the particular or the present year. The second scenario is done. Now the third thing, which when is GDP calculation? Not what are the other things, right? So the next third one is sale of used goods. So sale of used goods. What does this say? Sale of used goods. So now I have bought a car in particular year. After 2 years, I want to upgrade my car to another thing. So what do? I will sell it to the other person for the second hand. So the second hand items which are sold cannot be included in the GDP calculation. So second hand goods which are sold to others cannot be used for the GDP. So you might have OLX. Everyone does know about this OLX. So after a few years, what now I have a Pulsar bike. After 1 or 2 years, I might feel like I have to upgrade and I might want to buy the KTM bike. So what do? I put my bike, this present Pulsar bike, in the OLX and I sell it to the some other person. So whether now the sale or the transaction of this should be used in the GDP calculation or not? No, because I am selling the used good. So that cannot be used for the GDP calculation. Okay. Next thing. So that is that one. Next, fourth one is the for illegal sales of goods and services which are in the black market. Services and goods in black. So these illegal sales of goods in the black market cannot be used for the GDP calculation. Next one, last one is the fifth one, that is transfers made by the government. This fifth point is very important. That is transfer payments made by the government with as there is see no service produced by those transfers. For example, consider let me write it down. The fifth one, which is important. So fifth one is transfer of payment made by government doesn't produce which does not produce goods or services. Now let us say this. Let us understand this statement very carefully. Transfers made by the government. Now we know under the name of different schemes, government transfer money to the people, right? So one of the examples pensions. So these pensions, in many states like in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, in Tamil Nadu, in Karnataka, and other states also, there is a concept of pension. Like when a person or a woman or a male reaches a certain age, in some states it's 58, in some it's 60. Whenever they cross the age, the government will transfer an amount of 2,000 rupees into their accounts. Since they are unable to work, so this 2000 will help them to buy some foods, their needs, like their medicines, their food, or something like that. So this 2000 which is transferred by the government to the people is not producing any kind of new goods or services, right? So that kind of transfers cannot be used in the GDP calculation. Okay, now you got that point. Similarly, the scholarships. So these are also cannot be used. This cannot be used in the GDP calculation. Okay, now you got the point, right? Transfer of payments which doesn't produce new goods and services. That is very important. So these are the examples: the pensions, scholarships, and next one we will. We'll wind up this GDP concept by asking one simple question. We'll end up this by with one question. Okay. So understand the question very clearly. Understand the question very. There is an embassy of Japan in India. Okay, there is embassy of Japan in India. Nice, very good. And now you tell me, there is a service produced over here. Like some person works in the embassy. There is a hospital in the embassy. That is a private hospital inside the embassy. And now this hospitals provide services to the people, right? Now, whether this the service produced by the hospital is charged in our GDP or not, will be used in the calculation of whether used in the calculation of India's GDP. India's GDP. So now, while before answering this question, we should be very careful that I told you that political borders. We should be very careful with that boundary. So now, which country's embassy is this? This is an embassy of Japan. So this embassy will be under the control of which government? That is the government of Japan. So all the services, all the goods produced in this embassy is linked to Japan only. They doesn't belong to India. So the services produced in this hospital cannot be used cannot be used in the calculation of India's GDP? Okay, this question is fine. Yeah, we'll wind up this one with one more last question. One last question. Now understand the following question very carefully. I like consider you Vinod. Vinod bought a bike in car in 2019. Okay. Now I want to upgrade my bike or upgrade my car. So what I have to do is I'm selling it. I mean, like I went to OLX and placed my car over there for the sale, car for sale. Now some other person bought the car, like third person bought the car. Okay. So what if in this study or in this case, what are all the things which are used in the calculation of GDP in 2020, because I am selling the car OLX in 2020. So this car has been sold also in 2020. So what are the cases or what are the things which are included in the calculation of GDP in the year 2020? So now let us study this one very carefully. Okay. Now what I told, while calculating the GDP of a particular year, all the goods and services should be produced in that year itself. So my car, when did I buy the car? 2019. So this car is not produced in 2020, right? So this cannot be used in the calculation of GDP. Okay, that is fine. Now I have put the car for the sale in OLX and some other person bought the car. So he bought the car in 2020. Can I use this calculation? Can I use this value in the GDP calculation? No, because the car is an old one. Right. The car is an old one, old car. This is not a new product or which is not a new good or service produced that particular year. Okay, that cannot be used. Fine. But one thing which will be added to the GDP calculation is the service produced by the OLX. That is, see, when you are selling it through a broker, consider OLX as a broker. Okay, so now when you are selling a car through a broker or via a broker, you have to pay him some commission, right? Maybe like when you sell like 10,000 or 20,000 will be his broker's commission. Okay, so that broker commission or OLX is not doing that for free. It is doing for some commission. That is also a service provided by the OLX, right? So this is the service produced or in the year 2020. This is the service produced in 2020, which generated income for OLX. How much? 10,000 rupees maybe. 10,000 is the broker commission. So this 10,000 will be added for the GDP calculation. So how much? 10,000, which is a broker charge or OLX service charge, will be added to the GDP calculation, but not the car value. Okay, is everything fine here? Now you got a clear picture of GDP and what all to be included and what are the things to be excluded by calculating GDP, right? Yeah. Hope you enjoyed my class for this today and we'll end this session by today. Thank you so much. So if you have any doubts, through my you can contact me uh, through my website or through my phone number or through my mail. So this is my number 7416169128. This is my phone number. Okay, and for every students to know, I have my own website which I have made for your students exclusively to help the students. So that is www.kbrsclassroom.com. kbrsclassroom.com. That is my own website. Please do visit the website. And if you have any doubts, please contact me through mail also. That is kbrsclassroom kbrsclassroom@gmail.com. So please do refer these things and please uh, do call me or do mail me if you have any doubts at all regarding the concept. Or you can mail me those things which you have most difficulty in. Also, we can discuss those topics at the earliest. Okay, thank you so much.